Hello, welcome back to JM Football, and welcome back to another divisional preview. This time it is the AFC East. There's at least 3 fun teams in this division. Find out which one is not fun. But we'll start off with the Buffalo Bills. They finished 13-4 last year. They lost the AFC Championship game to the Kansas City Chiefs by a score of 32-29. They were second in offensive EPA per play last year, second while throwing the ball, third while rushing the ball. Hey, that rushing game's finally making an appearance for the Buffalo Bills. Shout out James Cook. 12th in defensive EPA per play, 20th in EPA per dropback, 5th against the run. Dalton Philly, we all know that Josh Allen's an MVP winner. We all know that somehow he even gets better in the postseason too. But we usually talk about X factors towards the end of the team preview in the divisional preview. I'm just going to rip off my X factor for the Buffalo Bills right now. What type of team will the Chiefs be whenever they play the Bills in the postseason? Because honestly, that's been one of the main things that have stopped the Buffalo Bills from having any sort of success and even making it to the Super Bowl. What if the Chiefs have any kind of witchcraft up their sleeve yet again? That's what feels like it's stopping this team.
I love it. I mean, that's a fair point. That's been their kryptonite. The Bills and the Chiefs are the only 2 teams to exceed 55 wins over the last 5 seasons during the regular season. And like this Bills team has been one of the best regular season teams in the 21st century. The problem is they just can't do it in the postseason. And it's really not because of Josh Allen, because Josh Allen has been a dog in these postseason games. But that said, I'm hoping they finally defeat. It's a David versus Goliath situation. And we've talked about it. Over the last 5 years for Josh Allen, he has the best touchdown to interception ratio. That's nuts. And you know what he has to show for it? 0 Super Bowl appearances. Yeah. 0 conference titles. Like I want to see Josh Allen in the Super Bowl so badly. And it's no disrespect to the Chiefs because they're obviously been a great team. I want to see Lamar Jackson in the Super Bowl too, but somebody's got to take down the Chiefs. I think the Bills give them the best run, but they haven't done it yet, Penik.
Yeah, I mean, this team isn't filled with superstars, right? Mm-hmm. And I would say when they play the Chiefs, that's maybe one of the things that holds them back. And like I said, I really think it is the Chiefs just find, like, when do the Chiefs ever score 30 points, especially now recently? I feel like them scoring 32. That was a
big stretch. They didn't. Yeah.
Right. They didn't. It just seems like they just have the Bills' number in the postseason. When it's funny, it's the other way around to the regular season, right? Yep. Josh Allen does a good job against Mahomes and the Chiefs in the regular season. That's honestly what feels like is holding them back. I hate to make that nitpick of this team doesn't have stars because up and down, their offensive line is very, very good. Yep. You can maybe say, all right, well, they don't have that really great receiver. Like Stephon Diggs and the star receiver isn't there anymore, but Josh Allen is that damn good. Similar to like a Lamar type of quarterback where these guys have shown that they don't need these number 1 wide receivers to put up MVP-like seasons. Defensively, they're solid. They're good. Maybe you would want them to be, especially when you have a defensive head coach, you would want them to be a little bit more dominant. Yeah. Which Joey Bosa comes along, where if he can get back to being one of the topper echelon of edge rushers in the league, that's huge for them. Ed Oliver is one of those players that you've always wanted to expect a little bit more. Daquan Jones is really good, but up and down, this defense is good. They have really, really good players. And, like, what is it going to take for them to beat the Chiefs? It almost feels like it's a coin flip, but more times than not, the Chiefs have made the odds more in their favor rather than just a 50-50.
And the thing with the Bills, too, is that they addressed their defense. After this loss to the Chiefs in the AFC Championship game last year, the Bills were like, hey, we got to find a way to stop the Chiefs offense one way or another. They signed 5 guys in free agency for $3 million or more. Yep. 4 of the 5 are on the defensive side of the ball. They had 5 draft picks up until pick 170 in NFL draft, and guess what they did? All 5 defensive players. So Sean McDermott and company was like, hey, we got to help this defense out, find ways to get impactful players on the defensive side of the ball, and stop Patrick Mahomes, stop Xavier Worthy, stop Travis Kelce, and obviously stop the Ravens, stop all the other teams in the AFC. But the Chiefs have been the kryptonite. One of the biggest things, love reading about Warren Sharp's breakdowns and over-unders and all of these stats. The Bills, I knew they were super efficient with the ball. Like, they did not make many mistakes last year. Yeah. They finished with a plus 28 turnover differential. Yeah. Let me say that again. The Bills had a plus 28 turnover differential. That's the highest and best it's been since 2012, and it's the 4th highest of this century.
Wow.
In the 2000s. That's unbelievable. So that's why Josh Allen, and I do think Lamar Jackson should have won MVP last season. But that said, Josh Allen led an offense that made minimal mistakes, man. He was so good, didn't turn over the ball, which obviously coming into the league was a massive concern over the first couple of years.
Coming into this season, it was a major concern for him. And that's why, like, so many of these quarterbacks, like Dak will have a big interception year, and then he brings it down, and it's like, all right, well, that talking point just goes away. I feel like a lot of these quarterbacks, especially the big four, right? Mahomes, Allen, Lamar, Burrow. The big four. If they have a year where they throw interceptions, it almost feels like, well, maybe that was how they needed to play in that given year. And I think Josh Allen has done a very, very good job as the years have gone on, as the league has evolved from when he first came into the league. And, the too high was an idea that like some teams were instituting, right? And now every team's doing it. So every team is going to force Josh Allen to not play hero ball and to not go the big air yard throws and the big arm throws and the improvising and all that kind of shit. So you got to remain more on schedule. And he's done that brilliantly. He's evolved brilliantly, and I think last year showed that with his ability to take care of the ball, sustain drives, and things like that.
1.2 interception percentage, 2.8 sack rate, 70-72
nuts,
QBR, 0.26 EPA per play. All of those were career best for Josh Allen. One of the reasons why he won the MVP award last year. Minimal mistakes, super efficient with the ball. And that's one of the reasons why he got a 6-year, up to $330 million contract extension this year. One of the best quarterbacks in football just got paid. I do like what the Bills did in terms of addressing the defensive side of the ball. I am curious about this wide receiver room because you do lose Amari Cooper, Mac Hollins, who I believe played the most snaps for the Bills wide receiver room last year.
Yeah, he's on another team now.
Goes to the Patriots, stays within the division. You bring in Josh Palmer and Elijah Moore.
I like Josh Palmer.
I like both those guys. I don't know if they're needle movers.
Josh Palmer's going to be the Gabe Davis.
Okay. That makes a lot of sense.
I mean, and Gabe Davis outside of the postseason wasn't that like I think he gets very inflated because of the postseason game that he had. But I mean, Josh Palmer, 15 yards per reception, averaged up to target like 15 yards the last couple of years.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be his role. And like these offenses, just because teams are going to try and stop you from going deep, doesn't mean that like there's never going to be an opportunity to go deep. Yeah. Like that's why like getting a little like when you talk about the receiver room, it would be still good to have guys that can stretch the field and go deep and win at all points in the field. Not just be, teams aren't going to let us do it, so let's just not do it. Josh Palmer can maybe be that guy, and the tight end room is still pretty good too. I love using James Cook at all parts, whether him running the ball, him catching the ball out of the backfield. They run that mesh play with James Cook. The 49ers run it with McCaffrey. The Giants would run it with Barkley. Dable likes to run it.
Man beater.
Joe Brady, yes.
It's a man beater.
If you're going to play man, I mean, that's how they score inside the red zone, and they were the number 2 team inside the red zone last year. So there's so many different ways that they can beat you, and it's not because, oh my God, you look at the wide receivers and, even the tight ends are good. They're not the most dynamic guys in the world.
They can play for sure.
But they can play.
Former first-round pick in Dalton Kincaid, too.
Right. And, he kind of, people were expecting him to really burst onto the scene. Didn't really last year. But still, Josh Allen just makes everybody so damn good because he is so damn good. And we're not breaking any news there.
Yeah.
So.
Over under time.
Yeah, I mean, 11.5, and I feel like the fact that they're playing the AFC East this year really goes in their favor. Plus, I actually think their strength of schedule isn't that bad, so I'm going to go with over.
Over.
Yeah.
Agreed. I think it's the Bills' year again. No disrespect to the other 3 teams in the AFC East. I don't think there's actually large competition for the first overall spot in the division. I do think there could be debate for the second spot.
Yeah, so let's talk about that.
Who was the second place team last year? That would be the Miami Dolphins, Justin Penik.
They finished with a record of 8-9. They did miss the playoffs last year. They were 22nd in offensive EPA per play, 15th in EPA per dropback, 31st in EPA per rush. Kind of surprising because everybody loves Devon Achane and fantasy, but man, seemed like very much on volume, especially last year. 8th in defensive EPA per play, surprisingly. 9th against the pass, 14th against the run. Dalton Philly, as we do these divisional previews and as I get more into my football coverage life, I've learned that the more positive you are, you can be critical, but in general, the more positive you are, maybe the more eyeballs your video will get. That's kind of like the list game that you play sometimes. But I can't help it but be totally disinterested in whatever the Miami Dolphins are doing right now. I don't care if they blow a team out 50-3, like they've done in the past. The script is written on the Miami Dolphins. They can beat up on bad teams. They have a really good scheme when it's good. And when it's not, when the offense is not good, when Tua's not good, when Tua's not facing a favorable matchup, or whenever you can face a team that knows how to stop them, there is no adjusting. There is no movement. The script on the Miami Dolphins is already written. They will win anywhere between, I think, 6 to 8 or 9 games. And if they make the playoffs, they're bounced right away.
And one of the other things I'm surprised you didn't mention, especially with Tua's history, not even talking about injury history here. I'm talking about his history playing in cold weather games. Like, that's an area where, come playoffs, they're playing outdoors. You could be playing in a cold area. Miami and Tua do not play well in those types of games. We saw it in Buffalo a couple years ago as well. I will say, Justin Penik, I'm going to talk about my X factor because I think Tua is obviously a big talking point within this offense and this Miami Dolphins team because there's a lot of question marks with him. Is he the guy who could be a franchise leader in terms of staying healthy, being on the field for nearly 17 games, ideally for 17 games? But when we think of Mike McDaniel as a head coach, we think of the Kyle Shanahan tree. And when we think of the Kyle Shanahan tree, we think of running the ball and the outside zone scheme. And I think that was a huge part of why they had their struggles last year. Comparing McDaniel's 2023 season to 2024, mind you, that's the year Raheem Mostert had a massive season on the ground.
And even Devon Achane, who comes on the scene a little late. I mean, he's the most explosive runner in the league.
And in 2023, it was not even close. He was the most explosive playmaker in football.
Smaller sample size. I think he had 103 carries versus last year he had 203.
But in 2023, 100 carries is still, that's nothing to bat an eye at.
Right.
That's a lot. But the big difference is yards per carry. They were number 1 in football in 2023, 5.1. So over that 5 mark, always a good sign. Ranked 4th in success percentage. Last year, 28th in yards per carry, 4 measly yards, 27th in success rate. Their 28% rate of stuffed runs for no gain. So stuffed run percent is when you go to line of scrimmage, either lose yards or 0 yards.
He still averaged 4.5 yards per carry, which is crazy, but he averaged 8 his rookie year.
It's the highest of any team since 2017. So basically, that's more on the offensive line of we're not getting any push and we're getting nothing out of the run game. And that's something they need in 25.
But you want to know what not to... All right, so this is... All right, this is more talk instead of just the Dolphins are boring and the script is written on them.
That's what I'm here for,
last year...
We got to talk some ball.
When Tua goes down, the backup quarterback situation is just awful, awful, awful. Very, very bad.
Yeah, it's most situations, though.
Right?
A lot.
It was inoperable.
Yeah.
You couldn't watch a Dolphins game without wanting to scratch your eyes out.
Yeah.
And the only thing that they tried to do, probably because the only thing that they knew they could do because of the lack of quarterback play, is they tried to run the ball. So I wonder, like, when Tua comes back, EPA per play and all this shit, it gets better. But again, that's where I feel like the talking point comes in. You can't fool me. You can't fool me. Because whether the weather gets cold, which a lot of the time I don't like to talk about weather getting cold, but maybe for Tua it's a real thing. I guess it actually is.
It definitely is a real thing.
But
I don't think he's won a game under freezing temperatures.
I also think of it as you're playing meaningful football in December, and you're playing better teams, and the whole record of teams over 500. That's also when they crash and they burn, and when they play these good defense. When they play any coach that has any semblance of A, talent, or B, I know how to stop this, and I know how to put parameters up to stop what you're trying to do with all the eye candy in the backfield and the pre-snap motion, and I'm going to put my guy here, I'm going to put my guy there, and I'm going to come out with heavy personnel and all the different shit that they do that will get bad teams, undisciplined teams in trouble. But when you have a team that's disciplined and knows what they're looking for and knows what they're looking out for, they're going to stop that shit. So I think the rig is up. The jig is up.
The what is up?
The rig is up. I got it right.
Truck?
I got it right. It's the jig is up.
The jig.
So
getting jiggy with it.
Man. I just think they've had bad injury luck on both sides of the ball.
Especially last year they had Bradley Chubb and Jalen Phillips.
But Jalen Phillips is a hurt player. That's kind of who he is.
Always been who he is. That's
even coming out of college,
he was the
a
number
chance.
1 recruit.
Yeah,
he's a very talented player. And coming out of, I believe, UCLA and Miami, that was the problem. He could never stay on the field. He is a talented player. And that is my X factor, Justin Penik. It is Jalen Phillips and Bradley Chubb, their ability to stay on the field. Because last year, They ranked 15th in pressure. That's shout out Chop Robinson for having a fantastic rookie season.
He's going to be awesome. I'm excited for him.
But they ranked 27th in sacks, so they weren't finishing the job in the backfield. I hope Jalen Phillips could play nearly 17 games. And same thing with Bradley Chubb, because that would be a huge impact on the pass rush. They need that on the defensive side of the ball.
They bring in Matthew Judon? Was that recent?
They did. 1 year, $6 million deal. So that's another guy. So that's 4 very talented edge rushers you have on that defensive line now. Rotate in and out. These guys don't have to play 100% of the snaps now either, which is huge.
Yeah, they entirely changed their secondary. Love bringing Minkah Fitzpatrick back. I really do love that.
Deal. Yeah.
I really wonder how he feels about that since he was so insistent.
Wanted out. Yeah.
He was so insistent on getting out of Miami. But hey, as long as they put him at safety and Brian Flores isn't forcing him at corner. Also, what a call your own number career move for Minkah Fitzpatrick, by the way, being like, get me, like, he was already a good player for Miami. He's like, get me out of here. I am insistent on changing the safety, even though he was a solid corner, goes and become an all-pro player, gets paid from Pittsburgh, wins a lot of games, has a ton of good moments and awards. And now you're back at the place that you were drafted at, but now you're at a different position. So hope it all works out for Minkah Fitzpatrick. Shout out St. Peter's Brett.
He also will not be playing with Brian Flores, and I think that
will not.
That was one of the bigger issues he had in Miami as well.
For sure. So I don't know, Dalt, man.
Over under time.
Yeah, I mean, defense. We talked about their depth there is good, but I just feel like the jig is up. We all know how this is going to end for them.
I want Tua to play 17. That would be awesome because
it's good to want. My father would say growing up.
I think that's true.
Yeah, it is. It's good to want. That's what he would tell me.
You know what? Their best year on offense was 2013.
Darren Waller.
2023, 17 games. Tua hasn't played more than 13 games in his career after that.
Darren Waller.
Back in Miami.
Maybe on the PUP list.
Rapper?
Probably still.
Over under is 8.5. Justin Panik. 3, 2, 1. Under. Yeah, we're both on the same page there. I don't want to say we both have the same group think, but we do have very similar mindsets for certain teams. I'm not as low on the Miami Dolphins as you are, but I don't think, I think the jig is kind of up as you've been
they'll
saying.
beat the shit out of bad teams.
Yeah.
And then they'll maybe get people to believe. Can the Dolphins keep this up?
They're going 8.
No.
I think they're going to go 8-9.
I think it may be. If I had a bet, I would lean closer to 6 wins. Because we didn't even talk about, I think Tyreek Hill is there against his will right now.
Yeah, he did request
the vibes are very bad right now. I'm sure the locker room is starting to get split. I think if Tyreek Hill first comes in and he has that really good year and he's like, oh, Tua's my guy, and guess what? I don't know if Tua's his guy anymore, even though, all efficiency. Because I think people are starting to figure it out.
Yeah,
that it's not working and you got to change. So when is a team eventually? Oh, side tangent. When is a team eventually gonna have a quarterback extension period? Like, okay, we drafted a quarterback, we have to extend him. When are they eventually going to get to a point and say, no, we're not going to give you all the money in the world? The Vikings with Kirk Cousins were one of the first teams in recent memory that said, no, we're not going to give you that money. But that was a player that tore his Achilles, and he was going into his age 34 season.
Factor. Like when you're younger, it's like sometimes teams are scared to potentially get an upgrade.
Right.
When you have your quarterback,
suffer what a downgrade would be.
Right. Like, and I think the perfect example of this, I know it's a side tangent, it's the 49ers. And obviously, like, Brock Purdy has gotten much better from where he started. One player develops 100%. But I think the Niners kind of got scared in terms of, okay, Brock Purdy might be anywhere from the 8th to 13th best quarterback in football.
Right.
If we move on from him, can we get anyone better?
Right.
And sometimes it's like, no. And if you don't get anyone better, or you move on from this quarterback and you fail, you're gonna lose your job. Sometimes scared money don't make money. That's why I'm like, if you don't think your quarterback can win you a Super Bowl, move on from him.
I am all in favor of paying the guy because I don't want to hate on quarterbacks that aren't like the big four. Like I am not of the belief in the opinion of, if you're not Joe Burrow, Lamar, Patrick Mahomes, or Josh Allen, you're just a piece of shit and you're horrible.
No.
Like a lot of social media will make it, well, you're not this, you're not that. I think being like, let me think of an example. I'm actually making a QB tier right now. Let me find a guy on my QB tier. If you are Justin Herbert, if you are Jared Goff, even Brock Purdy in this list, if you're Baker, Jordan Love, I think that's just fine. Because you want to know what? You're still really good. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's actually the name of the tier that I'm working on. You're really good, and there's nothing wrong with that. So I don't know, man. There will eventually be a team that makes when that fork comes in the road, says we're not going to do this, and I'm excited to see how it pans out for them. But nobody's really done it yet.
Speaking about a fork in the road, a team that made a lot of moves this offseason, a lot of changes, the New York Jets, Justin Penik.
Yes, the New York Jets, my New York Jets, missed the playoffs. They went 5-12 last year. They're 17th in offensive EPA per play last year. They were 18th in EPA per dropback. Some are saying the best passing season of all time for them outside of 2015 Ryan Fitzpatrick. 20th in EPA per rush. They were 21st in defensive EPA per play, 26th against the pass, 22nd against the rush. That should be higher. Like, they have the personnel, the resources that are on that defense. On the front, Quinnen Williams, Will McDonald, two really good linebackers in Jamie Sherwood, Quincy Williams, and especially that secondary. That should be better and higher. They do lose DJ Reed, who was a really good corner for them. But Dalton Philly, I have to tell you something. I'm excited on where the New York Jets are heading and where they're going.
Wow.
Because
best team in New York?
I think that they have a decent to good roster for a team that is starting from square one and with new GM, new head coach. Mm-hmm. I think they have pieces on both sides of the ball. And what I think the most important thing in today's NFL, having an identity that is offensive line driven and defensive line driven. And that's not even today's NFL. But I think the NFL is now rediscovering the importance of it. The only time that Patrick Mahomes has lost a Super Bowl in his life, in his NFL career,
when the
has
opposing
been
D-line kicked the shit out of his O-line.
Has been when the Chiefs O-line has been compromised, and then defensive lines can kick the shit out of that O-line and put him on the ground. That is the only time that Patrick Mahomes is. That's the only time Patrick Mahomes is ever going to lose a Super Bowl.
Yeah,
is when teams can do that. So Jets are O-line and D-line minded. I actually like where they're going.
My X factor was the tackles on the offensive side of the ball. Olu and Membu. Like, you just drafted Olu last season. You're gonna be your left tackle, Armand Membu. This year out of Missouri. I'm really excited because they are super athletic. Like, that front is super high upside because you got veteran John Simpson also in the interior. AVT, former first-round pick too.
Stay healthy.
A lot of these guys, athletes, but can we stay healthy? And Joe Tippmann, who I think is an okay center. Sure.
I think he's getting better. And I actually like Joe Tippmann.
More than John Michael Schmitz. Absolutely.
Well, that draft eval #wrong. But I like Joe Tippmann going into this scheme because Joe Tippmann's a really good athlete. He was a really good mover in space. So especially for an interior, how much does that matter? Well, if you have a scheme that can actually maximize an offensive linemen that are athletes, like all five of these guys are, and getting people of the Lions mindset in here, Aaron Glenn and company, that is really good. So the thing, yes, I agree with you. Olu and Armand Membo are...
Membu.
No,
it's Membo. I like saying Membu.
The two biggest X
Olu and
factors
Membu
of this team, without a doubt.
Yeah.
But something that I watched the Giants and the Jets joint practice.
I was just about to ask. Go for it.
I watched the Giants and the Jets joint practice, and I'll tell you what, Giants defensive line, they're expected to kick ass, and they did. They kicked ass for 2 days straight.
Yeah.
So the Jets O-line on paper right now should be good. Should be a kick-ass unit. They got to go out and they got to do it.
Yeah.
They got to go out and they got to establish it. And Olu, one of those, Olu has a very high ceiling. We got to start hitting it. Good rookie year, but rookies always have this shine. They always have the rookie shine. Mm-hmm. Rookies can make mistakes, and you want to know why fans are okay with it?
They're rookies.
They're rookies. It's fine.
Especially, but to be fair, O-line, that should be true.
Right.
Andrew Thomas, looking at your team.
Right.
Sometimes you're not going to be Tristan Wirfs, and by that I mean you're not going to always come in and just kick the fucking shit out of people.
But my point is,
you're going to have there are going to be times you have your struggles and you develop, and then you can become a very good caliber player in the NFL level.
But my point is, mistakes and blemishes in the second year are going to look a lot worse than blemishes and mistakes in the first year.
As they should.
As they should. That's what this Jets offensive line really needs to Olu has to be right. My
question to you is you went to see the Giants and Jets, but I wasn't going to even talk about the offensive line. Justin Fields, you make a change at quarterback, goes 4-2 with the Steelers, gets benched for Russell Wilson. There are some question marks because the Steelers were winning games, even though it could have been in spite of Justin Fields. What did you see from Justin Fields during this training camp?
This team needs to run the ball 40 times a game.
Yeah.
Like, I went in saying that before, and I walked out of those and it's just 2 practices, but also this isn't breaking news to anybody. Justin Fields is not a good thrower of the football. And
inconsistent. That's the other thing.
The Jets are going to have a lot of trouble throwing. I think they're going to have a lot of trouble throwing the ball at all this year, but throwing it out towards the sidelines, they're going to have trouble. And, maybe deep, okay, Justin Fields has a nice arm, good arm. I don't know the deep ball numbers of Justin Fields on the back of my hand, but they're going to have to run the ball 40 times a game. And it's not just because they can't throw, but it's because that is the identity of this team. Whether you like it or not, like if you get behind by 10 points, sayonara, see you next week. Like it'll be over. But if they can play defense like they should, they have a good defense. They're getting Jermaine Johnson back, which
that was
is
a huge
for
injury
them.
on the D-line. Yeah,
huge. Quinn Williams is still a really good player, right? Will McDonald had a really breakout year. I hate that he switched to 9. I really like 99. You look bigger 99, all right?
You do. I hate single-digit numbers for certain players, 100%.
Quincy Williams, Jamie Sherwood are 2 of – I think they're 2 of the
most
top,
underrated?
No. Well, I think interior linebacker duos in the league.
Oh, absolutely. I think they're
one
undervalued.
of the best.
And I'm happy Sherwood got paid this offseason.
Yes. Sauce is obviously Sauce, and I think a lot of Jets fans are kind of crapping on him right now a little bit, and maybe it's for good reason. I don't watch every snap, so I'll take their word for it when they watch every snap, and they made some other additions to the secondary. This defense should be a above average unit. I won't call them a top 10 unit.
I love the front 7. I am concerned about the back end of this defense because Sauce had his question marks last year. Not to say he was bad. I think he was good, but like you said, Jets fans would know better than us. But that said, 3 new additions to their expected starter rotation on the back end of the safeties. Malachi Moore comes in, 4th-round pick. Andre Cisco, former Syracuse Orange from Jacksonville, gets here. And then Brandon Stevens from Baltimore. Like, those are 3 guys. When you have that many new pieces coming in, especially 1 unit, or I guess 2 units, cornerbacks and safeties, I have my question marks. But Aaron Glenn, obviously a fantastic defensive mind. They were good against the run.
He's okay.
Wow.
I think he's going to be a better head coach than defensive mind. I don't think he's an awesome defensive mind.
Okay. I agree. I think he's a very good player coach.
Yes.
Usually players will love him.
Well, I also like that he's the opposite of Solid. He's kind of like holding fucking people accountable. He's running a camp where it's the other way around, where the players are running the asylum, especially under Aaron Rodgers, where
that's a bit another
Rodgers was running this shit. Where Aaron Glenn seems like the exact opposite. And I think in today's age of, all these guys want to be buddy with the players, and you can't offend the players, and you can't offend their stars because your stars are going to want to get traded. Yeah. Well, Aaron Glenn and this new Jets regime, they found a way to lock up their good players. Didn't they? They extended Garrett Wilson. They extended Sauce in back-to-back days too. So good job getting that shit done. Run the damn ball 40 times. Play good defense. See what happens. Eventually find your franchise quarterback. Because if the rest of the roster is as close as I maybe think it can be, then teams will stumble into finding their answer at quarterback, even if it's not the franchise top 4 big 4 guy, right? We just talked about it with Brock.
Yeah.
Brock Purdy.
Yeah.
They kind of stumbled into that.
And it worked.
And Brock Purdy may not look that damn good if he's on the Raiders a couple years ago. You know what I mean?
100%.
If it's a different situation. You could say a lot about other quarterbacks.
If my aunt had balls, she'd be my uncle. So.
That is right. Nicky Snacks.
Over-under is 5.5, Justin Penik. And I'm very curious. I don't know if we're both at the same spot here, so we're going to say it on 3. 1, 2, 3. Over. Wow. Fuck.
Well, I mean, it's the Jets. 5.5 is the lowest over/under total in the NFL.
And you know what? I don't want to say I'm a believer in Justin Fields. I've probably been proven wrong. I loved him coming out of the 2021 draft.
Runs the ball very well.
Great athlete. It's just so much inconsistency in the passing game. If they're very effective, like him, Braylon Allen, and Breece Hall in the backfield, like that, they can just run the damn ball. Get the hat. Indy used to have that. Oh, love that. Ground and pound, baby. This Jets offense could be something. I am curious to see how Fields looks, but yeah, let's go Jets. First year under Aaron Glenn. Let's see if we can get to at least 6 wins here.
Great job, by the way, by the Jets. A lot of people wanted them to take Tyler Warren or one of those tight ends. You take the right tackle, and then you get Mason Taylor, who I think is going to be really damn good.
Yeah, you do like yourself Mason Taylor.
Yeah. All right. I also just don't like taking tight ends in the first round. Hey, Colts. How about the Patriots? Last team that we have to talk about. They went 4-13. They missed the playoffs. They were 27th in offensive EPA per play. You're right after that Colts comment. 23rd in EPA per dropback. 30th running the ball last year. They got to get better doing that. They know that. 30th in defensive EPA per play. We can't be the New England Patriots and have the third worst defense in the league. They were third worst in EPA per dropback and 21st in EPA per rush. Dalton Philly. Drake May is fun. Excited to see what he does in year 2. You're always going to have attachment to especially quarterbacks that you like in the pre-draft process, and the ones that you like in the pre-draft process, you're going to give them all the excuses in the world until they run out. But I don't think what May showed his rookie year should sway anybody either way from thinking that he'll be very good or even very bad, because the surroundings of the Patriots weren't that very good.
I think he's going to be very good.
All right.
I do. I think Drake May is a very talented quarterback.
I agree.
I have some stats that kind of defend him a little bit. And he wasn't perfect by any means. And like some of these things aren't going to be pretty. Eye test numbers, like I think he'll be a good quarterback. And I think we're going to see not a sophomore slump. We're going to see a sophomore surgence. My biggest thing is sometimes it's best to judge a quarterback early on. Like, how are they in a clean pocket? Like, can we, when everything's going right, can we play football?
It's a stable metric.
It's a stable metric. It's like, are we playing good football when everything around us is going good? And Drake May was. His EPA per play per dropback during a clean pocket was 17th. League average as a rookie.
I love average.
Which is pretty darn good for his first year.
And also shitty receivers.
And you know who and Justin Penik, oddly enough, he was a couple spots higher than fellow rookie Jaden Daniels from a clean pocket in EPA per play last year.
Okay.
So, I mean, obviously Jaden Daniels had a way better year. Not saying Drake May had a better year, but I'm just saying it is interesting to see that when everything was stable, Drake May did quote-unquote outperform Jaden Daniels. Problem, though, under pressure, negative play rate, sack percentage, bottom tier, 7th worst in football. And the Pats offensive line, Justin Penik. I am going to rant for a second, so let me cook. I'm going to cook. Thank you, chef. Their run blocking and pass blocking, both 2nd worst in football last year per ESPN and Pro Football Focus. They allowed a 28% pressure rate with on passing plays 2.5 seconds or less. That's worse in football. So even when we're trying to get the ball out of the quarterback's hand, pressure's still incoming. Drake May was struggling under pressure, but you know what? The Patriots did a very, very good job in terms of like a couple of these bad teams we've talked about. Hey, we have O-line problems. Let's at least try to address it, especially with a young quarterback. You draft Will Campbell out of LSU, 4th overall. Mike Onwenu, still there. I've always loved the guy. Tackle, guard. Sure. You signed Morgan Moses and Garrett Bradbury, 2 veterans. I know Bradbury kind of underwhelming in Minnesota Athletic Center. He wasn't the greatest, but Morgan Moses, say that 5 times fast. Morgan Moses has been awesome. He's another one of those guys that as he gets older, he somehow gets better. And then you draft Jared Wilson out of Georgia in the 3rd round. So they revamped this offensive line, and I think that could be a massive impact to Drake May. I think year 2, we're going to see the best of Drake May. And I'll say right now, I'm going to spoil it for the over-under. New England Patriots, congratulations. You're a wild card team this year.
They have a really easy schedule.
2nd easiest schedule in football. 3rd based on efficiency. I think Drake May takes a step up this year. They revamped their offensive line a little bit. Stephon Diggs comes in the passing game when he's healthy. Should be healthy, right? Yeah. Early on. So
he's been practicing.
I'm excited for the Patriots, and I don't think anyone's ever really said that since Tom Brady left. So I'm excited.
I actually like Josh McDaniels as OC.
Great OC, awful head coach. That's okay. You can be a great coordinator and a bad head coach. Totally fine.
I mean, the only time that Mac Jones looked like a capable NFL quarterback was when Josh McDaniels was his offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
Damn, man. If Kyle Williams, who I love, it was like him and Jaden Higgins in like that 2nd round. They got him in the 3rd. They got him in the 3rd. It was those receivers in that next tier. I liked, and I would have rather take Kyle Williams and Jaden Higgins in the 2nd/3rd round than take Tet McMillan and Matthew Golden in the 1st. Knowing the talent knowing that the talent was around them in the draft at that time.
Sure. Yeah.
I would get way more excited about those 2 guys. I mean, especially Kyle Williams in the 3rd, man. in the third, and they basically add another offensive lineman in Henderson.
Yeah.
Travion Henderson, who it's
pass pro, huge.
He's
huge,
the man, and he returns a kick in the preseason too. So they know that they got to run the ball better. Like Mike Vrabel's going to come in, and hey, he did it in Tennessee. Helps that he had a guy named Derrick Henry there too. But they're going to come in and we cannot be bottom 3 running the ball. We cannot be bottom quarter of the league but running the ball. So I don't know how much is that offensive line really going to take a step up. Will it be better than last year? Yes. Will it
has to be?
Will it be above average? No, I do not think it will be above average.
We'll see. It could be. I don't want to say. I'm not going to put that at 0%.
Defensively, Christian Barmore needs to be healthy.
Comes back. He missed all of last year.
He needs to be healthy.
He signed Milton Williams.
Keon White needs to take another year 3 jump. He had 5 sacks last year. We got to get more pressure on the quarterback. He signed Milton Williams. I think fans are going to get fed up with that contract because when you're paying a guy $20 million a year, you're going to expect close to 10 sacks. And Milton Williams may not be near a 10 sack guy every single year. And that's the nature of the beast with interior defensive linemen. You could still be really good, but have bad sack luck.
Look, secondary wise, Christian Gonzalez.
Yes.
I mean, it's another guy who could stay healthy. It would be awesome.
I like Jabril.
He is honestly, I think Christian Gonzalez, I would love for him to be considered a top 5 CB by the end of the year. That's the upside I think he brings. Super athletic. I know first year he looked very good, gets banged up. Last year was a very solid year for him. But man, he could be a top tier corner. I'm curious to see. Not many changes on the backside of the defense outside of bringing in Carlton Davis, man-on-man guy.
And we didn't talk about Harold Landry, who comes over from Tennessee.
Sure.
And that's a guy that can get you double-digit sacks as well. So
the
talent's better. I've been going through all offseason, and I've been saying, I don't know if they upgraded talent enough.
Oh, they did.
They did. Yeah. Robert Spillane, really good from Vegas, too.
Yeah.
He's a Gruden grinder. Anything to do with the fact that he's white? So 8.5 is a lot, though, man.
Let's go. You ready? 3, 2, 1, over. You didn't say it at the same time. You're going under. It's okay.
Yeah, I'm going under.
Yeah.
I'm going under. And it's not because I don't believe in Drake May.
You hate Drake May.
I love Drake May.
Oh, the Giants couldn't trade up for him. I hate him now.
They tried.
I sounded like Cosmo from Fairly Odd Parents.
Do you know the story behind that?
I do.
Not behind Cosmo.
Please, Mr. Wolf. We want the 3rd pick so bad. At the end.
Elliot Wolf and Gerard Mayo wanted to, and it was Robert Kraft, and he hired this outside consulting agency to help the New England Patriots, and the consulting agency told Kraft to say no. Kraft said no. Elliot Wolf and Gerard Mayo wanted to deal with the Giants.
Good thing they didn't.
So I'll forever hate Robert Kraft.
Well,
and the outside consulting agency. They still don't have a GM, which is really bad. Okay.
AFC East division. Basically done. Our last thing, we got to rank the division, right? First to worst.
Bills
1. I got Patriots 2. They're a wild card team. I'm in.
I'll have, even though I said the Dolphins between 6 to 10. All right, I'm lying. The Dolphins may be worse. I think I'm gonna go.
Who's 2?
Bills 1.
Okay.
Pats 2.
Oh, you son of a bitch. You
Jets 3.
Caved.
Jets 3. I can't put the Jets 2 with Justin Fields throwing the ball. Jets 3 and Dolphins 4.
So just to be clear, you expect a Patriots. You think it's more likely that the Patriots either jump up or Miami's that bad?
I mean, fucking Buffalo could win 14 games.
Yeah. For me, I got Buffalo 1, New England 2, Miami 3, New York 4. Not your year, New York. Maybe the following year. I'm curious to see how Fields looks.
You put the Jets last?
I did.
Okay.
I did.
Yeah, that's fine.
I can't. I want to believe in Justin Fields. I've believed in him since his rookie year. Hasn't happened yet. But Justin Penik, that's it. That's 6 divisions. We're almost here, bud.
We're almost there.
To the West we go.
Football's almost back, and it's almost better than ever because it's not back yet. So we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Peace.
Road to 5 million.